Illinois. It's perfectly legal. It's called dual agency. In order for an agent to do that, they have to have written consent from the seller. They usually get that at the time they're signing the listing agreement, and the buyer has to sign it before that agent can even show them the property. But basically, with the dual agency, the agent has to remain neutral. They can't give advice to the seller or give advice to the buyer. Over the years I've done this, I have had buyers come to me for my listings and they didn't want to have another realtor and whatever. I never did a dual agency. What I did was they signed a form acknowledging that they were not being represented by me. So they solely had no representation other than, their buyer's attorney. And it was made clear to them that I was representing the seller. The seller hired me. I don't think it's fair that all of a sudden I say, oh, I'm going to just be neutral now and be a dual agent. I just don't agree with it. With these new laws, though, now, because of this NAR settlement, which I don't even know if it's completely settled, but we do have some new forms and new ways of doing things, and some things already have changed, but I'm not sure if it's completely settled. I personally think the whole scenario of it was just ridiculous. Not was, is ridiculous. That they were saying that the sellers shouldn't be paying the buyer's agent. It was never the sellers paying the buyer's agent. It was the listing agent agreeing to co-op and split their commission with the buyer's agent, which helped open up the property to more buyers and ultimately help the sellers sell for a higher price. So, what they're doing now is just making everything a mess. You're going to probably now, since a buyer, before they can see a property, they're going to have to meet with that agent and sign an agreement about compensation. Most buyers, between their down payment, their closing costs, their rolling closing costs still into the loan, they usually barely have enough money to close. So, where anybody thought that they were going to be able to come up with paying a buyer realtor commission, I don't, that just baffles me. Um, so I think we're going to start seeing now more buyers going around with no representation and just calling the listing agent directly. Or the other big trend is going to be we're going to start seeing a lot of open houses. I don't recommend them. I wouldn't do an open house on my house. I wouldn't do it on my family member's house, my friend's house. I have done them because I have had some sellers insist that they wanted an open house. Back before we had the internet and all of that with the MLS and all the interior photos and stuff, we were always taught as an agent to do an open house, but it never was to benefit the seller. It was to the agent's benefit because pretty much anybody that would show up would be the nosy neighbors because they know the sellers aren't home and now they can, go walk through their house and see everything. So it was a benefit to the agent to meet all the nosy neighbors that, might be future sellers, maybe future clients for them. But with everything having photos on the internet and stuff now, you don't get true buyers coming through. Even back then, it was never really true buyers. If it was a real buyer, the reason their agent didn't make an appointment to show it to them was because it was out of their price range or it didn't have enough bedrooms. So that's why they didn't look at it. I think now, speaking with other agents that do still do open houses on a regular basis, they're just getting anybody, off the street walking in. You're not getting the nosy neighbors anymore usually because they can see everything online. You can ask them to sign in. We can't say, show me a photo ID, I think, or we would get in trouble for that. Do you really think that, if they're not on the up and up, that they're going to give you their correct information? We get reports and stuff from NAR and all different places about stuff happening at open houses. Not necessarily in Illinois. I know it does happen here as well, but in other states that, you got people going in there looking for prescription drugs to steal, kind of casing the place out. So, in my opinion, a serious buyer that is pre approved for a mortgage or has cash and is ready to buy is going to be working with an agent. So, the open house thing, some people like them, but I think you're going to see a big push now on open houses. And like I said, I wouldn't do it on my own. I wouldn't do it for anybody, family member or anything like that, that I could say, hey, no, you definitely don't want that because it's not going to benefit the seller. And the dual agency, my opinion, I don't think it's a good idea. The changes that I've seen now, since we can't show cooperative commission in the MLS anymore, we can't advertise it anywhere. I've had agents calling me or emailing me before scheduling a showing on my property and asking me, is your seller paying a co op commission? Now, I've heard some other brokers say, oh, you should just not tell them right away if they are and say, bring me an offer asking for it and we'll see. So far, since this law has changed, um, my listings were still offering out the same co op commission like we always did. 50% to the listing office, 50% to the buyer's office. Um, but now I'm getting all these phone calls and emails ahead of time. I don't like these agents that are saying, oh, well, bring me an offer and ask for it, and we'll negotiate from there. That's, I think, causing a lot of properties to not be shown. Uh, it's not going to help the seller at all. So I wouldn't recommend dual agency. I don't recommend open houses. Um, we're seeing some shifts in the market right now, but that's also the day I'm recording this is right before the presidential election, and we always kind of see, I don't know why, but there's always kind of a slowdown right before the election. Like, it makes a difference. I mean, if somebody needs to buy a house, they're going to buy a house, but historically, this always happens. So I hope you found this information useful. I hope you learned something you maybe didn't know before. And like, subscribe, and I hope to see you on another episode. all my information is down below, so feel free to contact me at any time with any real estate questions that you have, or especially if you're looking to sell or buy a property. I would love to help you. But for now, I guess that's a wrap. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.